Call the meeting to order. Rebecca, please call the roll.
Gandy?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Council, are there any agenda or any changes to the agenda? If not, we'll move to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes of the March 14th, 2022 council meeting. Approval of the March 18th, 2022 payroll in the amount of $159,707.23. Approval of the February finance report. Acceptance of the personnel committee minutes. Acceptance of the beautification commission minutes. Resolution approving employment in the fire department. Approval of liquor license for Azen Wine Bar LLC. I'm not sure if that's how I pronounced it right. Do you know?
I think
Okay. Everybody's Whole Foods, Hawkeye Smoke Shop, Quality Quick Stop, and approval of total claims in the amount of $352,996.65. We had one claim to WRH Inc. For wastewater treatment plant upgrades in the amount of $161,756.50. We'll take
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Gandy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Toohill. Any other discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Gandy?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes. Thank you. Public forum and appearances. We have Mr. Ron Blair here tonight to talk about Natty Committee. And Cassidy Robinson. So,
Come up.
yep, go ahead.
Hello. And we pretty much, I think you know both Cassidy and myself. Elizabeth.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. So we're here really to give you an update and tell you about some progress we're making on protecting city environmentally sensitive land. And we're going to talk a little bit about protecting timberland, and also some prairie. And I'm going to let Cassidy explain to you about what's going on with the timberland.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Ron. My name is Cassidy Robinson. I'm a district forester for the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. My office is located on South 23rd Street here in Fairfield. And today I'm going to be focusing on the reservoir property that is owned by the city. Bailey Yoder, she's a forester with the National Wild Turkey Federation. She created a forest stewardship plan for the property, very similar to the one for Lamson Woods that Ray Lane wrote. And there's been a grant that was approved that we're naming the Bat Grant. It's supposed to be promoting habitat for bats because they're a declining and endangered species. So now we have all of these funds to utilize, and one of the main projects that we're hopefully going to focus on is this reservoir property, because city-owned properties have a really hard time getting cost share to do things. So this is basically free money to do good management that's already been written in this plan. The main things that we're going to do is invasive species control. There's a lot of honeysuckle and autumn olive and multiflora rose that have taken over, which decreases diversity. There's less food for wildlife. It's decreasing the health of the timber. So that's one of our main goals. And the other main goal is to do timber stand improvement. So not all trees are equal. Some are better food sources for wildlife. Some are better timber production species than others. So our goal with the timber stand improvement is to promote mast producing species for wildlife and just promote diversity. We're having a hard time with oak regeneration and recruiting oaks to the next life cycle. We have a lot of mature oaks, but not young oaks. So that's one of the goals. And so with this BAT grant, the program, or I guess the process of how it will work is step one, get a plan. We've already got that. Step two is applying for the free money, which I fill out a contract and an application for you guys and send it up. Then the DNR looks it over and updates all the legal stuff, then sends it back. Then you guys will have a chance to review it, to scrutinize all of the nitty-gritty stuff. The copy I have is only 7 pages, so it's not that bad, I don't think. Then if it's okay, if it all looks good to you guys, then you sign it and it becomes official. This plan will be 3 years long. So there's 4 tasks that'll be done in 3 years. And Ron has found a couple of contractors that are gonna bid for the work, and whoever has the lowest bid will get the job. And then each year after they complete their task, they'll submit an invoice, then the city would pay them, then the city submits that invoice to the DNR, and the DNR reimburses the city. And that would happen for 3 years. After that 3rd year, there's a 10-year maintenance agreement, which means you can't turn the area that was managed into something other than a timber, and you can't graze it, which you wouldn't do anyway, and you have to protect it from wildfire, which is also already pretty much being done. So that's kind of how it would work. Any questions?
Is this just around waterworks? Or are we talking number 2, pond 2?
So this
that
is
whole
only
area.
going to cover 14.9 acres. It's only going to be covering stand 3 in this management plan, and I can email this to you guys. You guys are going to get $13,559.
Stand 2 and 3.
No, just 3.
I see, okay.
13,000, let's see. 13,559 will be the total. And that should cover everything that needs done in stand 3, but that'll become more clear once those contractors submit bids, whether or not they come in under or about equal or over what the budget is.
I'm still unclear. Where's stand 3? Sorry.
So
Am I the only person who doesn't know this?
I didn't send this out.
We did get a copy. Yeah,
Oh.
we got a copy.
It's
Yeah.
this
I didn't look at it that
spot
close.
right here.
Okay.
So the grant only covers that one stand?
Yep, because the invasive species is very expensive because it's super labor intensive. So year 1 is 500 an acre for invasives, year 2 is 150, and year 3 is 100 an acre. So, and then the timber stand improvement is 160 an acre. And again, that's just what the budget is. I'm hoping that the contractors bid lower than that, so then we can add on some additional acres.
How do they remove the invasive species?
Different ways. The number one way is going to be cutting each individual stump with a chainsaw and treating that individual stump with an herbicide mix so it doesn't resprout. If you cut it and don't treat it, then it'll just resprout and you basically wasted all your elbow grease and time. Then the second year will be more foliar application. So spot spraying the individual plants that come back that were in the seed source the first year, but did not get cut because they weren't big enough yet. And then the third year will be again spot spraying with the foliar application, or if we get enough control the first 2 years, we could just do hand pulling. But I don't like hand pulling because if you don't get all of the root, then it just resprouts. So I prefer spot spraying. In these
You're
contract.
going to remove 100% of it or 89%?
So the goal is, right now, the coverage of invasives is greater than 60%, so that is what we consider very heavy. After the first year, the goal is to reduce it between like 20 and 39%. That would be the total cover of invasives, and then after the second year, it's down between like 10 and 30, and after the third year, we want to get it to 10% or lower. Eradication is not the goal because it's not realistic. After year 3, if we're at 10% or less, that's a success. And at that point, it's just a maintenance agreement. Whether we keep these contractors on with NADI committee funds, it would be a lot cheaper because it's not as severe, or it could be volunteer project, kind of whatever. Just getting it to that maintenance level. We could also use prescribed fire to maintain it every 5 years, but we'll see where it goes.
When you say getting quotes, we put this out to bid just like any other contract or anything that we're doing?
Kind of. So Iowa State University has a link to professional forestry contractors, and Ron picked, in the Natty Committee, I guess as a whole, picked the two most local. And so Kevin Anderson and possibly myself and/or Bailey are going to go out and walk the property with them, and then they'll submit the bids, and whoever is the lowest will get it.
Sure.
And they're not going to be just doing the back grant. They're going to be bidding on that stand too. But that is going to be funded through Natty Committee funds, not the back grant.
So, sorry, you're addressing stand 3 and 2, but just with the back grant is stand 3 then?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm trying to be as least confusing as possible
No,
because it kind of gets complicated with money. But yeah, back grant is stand 3. Stand 2 is Natty Committee funds, and the goal is hopefully we can get all 80 acres of timber managed at some point, but it's just not going to be all at once because it's expensive.
And you're prioritizing stand 3 because it has the most invasive species, and it's pretty large, right?
We prioritized stand 3 because it's a remnant prairie, so it's basically our number one priority, I guess, because of the species that are already there. We could do the most good in that area. Do you have
Okay.
anything? Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Well, I'm not going to add, Bailey covered everything to do with timberland, other than to say that stand 2 is the area that is between the Natty Prairie and the lake, heavily used, it has a woodland trail in there, has a water trail, and so we also wanted to clean that area up as well. And it's a demonstration to the public, explaining why these practices are going on. It's going to increase diversity, increase the food sources for native animals, and so it's educational as well as being protected. So I was going to just basically almost piggyback on what Cassidy was saying about prairie areas, which we are also, the Natty Committee, are going to have the same 2 consultant bid on invasive work on the Natty Prairie, and then the Eastman wetland and upland prairie. The Eastman wetland is the area that's just east of Chautauqua Park, right in back of the community orchard. And we've been by your helping us and supporting us, we have been accruing funds from CRP funds, and we want to spend those on these improvements. So this is our goal, and we're striking in both directions, timber and prairie, and this is year 1, and then we'll follow up and do years 2 and 3. So any questions on the prairie side of the equation? Yeah, and those will be paid for strictly out of the CRP, out of the Natty funds.
And that goes through the rec set?
Through the Park and Rec Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah. We're educating them. We wanted to get council's
Okay.
approval first, and then, yeah.
Yeah, so this back grant is handled just a little bit differently.
Timeline-wise, hopefully I can submit the application and contract or send it on up, and within a month or 2, we'll get it back to review and approve.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great,
Thank you.
Do you need a motion to submit the grant, or? You said you wanted our approval, but we haven't done anything yet.
Well, I was yes, I would like, I need your guys' blessing. I just kind of wanted to explain it as best I could and hopefully not make it muddier than it already was, and then just give me, I'm hoping for permission to send it on up.
To submit the application.
Yes.
So I move we approve submission of the application for the Natty Land rehabilitation.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion or questions? Not, please call the roll.
Flournoy.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Gandy.
Yes.
Esti.
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to resolution action items and ordinances. The first action item is to set a public hearing for the fiscal year 23 budget for Monday, April 11th, 2022. And
I'll talk about it.
go ahead.
Okay, this is not Groundhog's Day. Unfortunately, when we submitted the budget publication to the paper, we then found a correction that needed to be made. We sent the correction to the paper and said, hey, we need this one published. We were informed that that one would indeed be published, and what happened was they did not did not print the correct budget form. So we're going back through the budget approval process because the paper didn't present or publish the correct form. So we apologize for the process, going back through the process, but it's a little bit out of our control on this one. Actually, the positive is we were able to go through, or the auditor found a mistake for us over at the county courthouse, and we've made an adjustment, so we actually were able to lower the levy by a penny. So.
Motion to approve setting a public hearing for April 11th.
Second.
Moved by Anderson, second by Flournoy. Any other questions, discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Anderson?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Next matter is a public hearing regarding the 2022 Highway 1 project plan specifications, form of contract, and engineer's estimate. Before I open the public hearing, go ahead, Melanie. You can talk a little bit about this, and then I'll open the public hearing.
Okay. So after the city completes the Highway 1 widening project from Libertyville Road to Fillmore, the DOT is going to be resurfacing from Fillmore to Burlington. So last year and then with this project, we're working to get the water main out from underneath the traveled way and putting it in the grassed area. Last year, we did from Fillmore to Harrison, and so this project is replacing the water main along Highway 1 from Harrison to Adams. And it's approximately 2,000 feet. We will be doing a majority of the work with boring, as the last phase was. It'll be on the east side of Highway 1 from Harrison to Madison, and then the west side of Highway 1 from Madison to Adams. We'll be replacing the services and the hydrants like we do with all of the projects. Bids are due April 6th with the work, the completion date being November 18th or the Friday before the week of Thanksgiving. And the engineer's estimate is $300,000, which is what we had budgeted for it in the fiscal year that you just set the budget for.
Okay, so now I'll open the public hearing. Does anybody from the public want to talk about this project? Okay. If not, I'll close the public hearing. And then we'll do the action item, which is to approve this.
Motion to approve the engineer's estimate for Highway 1 water project plans.
Second.
Okay, moved by Anderson, second by Gandy. Any other discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Anderson?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Okay, so our next public hearing will be the proposed street improvements for Morgan Street, paving plan, specifications, form of contract, and engineer's estimate. Matt, do you want to say anything about this before I open the public hearing?
So what we have before you tonight is the repaving of Morgan Street from Burlington Avenue north 2 blocks to Briggs. We are planning for opening bids on Thursday, April 7th, for you guys to consider the bids at your April 11th council meeting. We've got the completion date set for November 18 of 2022, and the estimated construction cost is $249,000.
Great, thank you. Is there any, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone that wants to speak on this? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. And ask for council's approval on this, or any,
I move that we approve the proposed street improvements for Morgan Street. as described.
Moved by Flournoy,
Second.
second by Ham.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Now, please call the roll.
Flournoy.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Gandy.
Yes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Esti.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you, Matt. Next public hearing is nuisance abatement schedule of assessments. We did have an objection, 1106 and 1200 East Burlington Avenue. And I will open the public hearing. Is there someone that wants to talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay, if you'll please state your name and your address.
Hi, Gary Boucherel, 1106 East Burlington.
Okay, go ahead.
So I just got the letter about the grass being too long, so I called my friend Scott Vaughn and said, Scott, I'll get to it. I just have to get my brush mower repaired. That's how I do the lawn and the field next door. And he said, oh, sure, no problem. We get those. We send those letters out. It's a routine thing. It's been so wet anyway. Most people haven't been able to get to their lawn. No problem. The very next day, I talked to Scott, or the day after, I came back from work, and my grass was mowed. So I had no opportunity to mow it myself, and which I would have done that weekend. In fact, I had my mower back that weekend, and I had to go back over what they had done because it was really wet, and they didn't do a very good job. And I did get the bill for $155, and apparently I didn't pay it. I thought I paid it. I know that's no excuse, but I thought the matter was done. And then we got the nuisance letter about, a month ago. And the whole 390 was a surprise, for one thing, a shock, because I thought the bill that I got was for both properties. So I didn't know anything about the 390 until we got that letter. So I just found that amount was outrageous for properties that I've maintained for years and years and years, and we've never had this problem before. But it was just because I had no access to equipment. I have a brush mower that, it's a big machine, and it was ghost driving, which means it will go by itself. And it was a manufacturer defect. They sent me a repair kit. It was quite an involved thing. I had to take the machine completely apart and put in new parts. Eventually did get it fixed, and here I am. I know you're probably not that sympathetic with the situation. You get a bill, you were passing it on to me. I just am hoping that there'll be some consideration for the fact that they jumped on it. They literally jumped on it. Like the very first day we got some warm weather. It was surprisingly warm that day and a little bit dried out. It didn't dry out completely. Anyway, I was planning to get to it that weekend. But I didn't have a chance. Pardon me?
This all happened last fall?
This happened last spring.
A year ago?
Yep. Spring we had a lot of rain. It was cool. We did have a lot of rain. My machine was not operable. The grass grew. I mean, to me it didn't look that unsightly, but I take care of it. It's not like we ever let our lawn go looking like that.
Was there any discussion with Scott Vaughn about this particular before he left?
No.
I can say it looks like it was due on May 18th to have the properties mowed, and they went and mowed it, the street department did, on May 21st.
When did they get the first letter?
May 11th.
And in the first letter, they told them how much time they had to get it?
They had until May 18th.
So just a week?
Well, 10 days, yeah. No, wait, sorry.
And that letter is sent certified?
No.
No.
They're just sent regular.
Okay.
Just because we don't send those letters that are certified, it's, the letter itself is, I don't know, it doesn't need to even be done.
Okay. I just wondered
Because
how
we-
long it was stuck in the postal system before it arrived.
Right. The letter is just is a nicety. We don't
Yeah.
even have to do that. It's published in our paper, and it's just common rules.
Can we have Melanie explain the pricing, just so the public can understand why the prices are so high? Or appear to be high to the public?
So the pricing was set a couple of years ago through ordinance and resolution by the city council. And that used the Iowa DOT prices for the equipment cost. And then on top of that was added the labor. And the labor does assume that a department head, which is generally the highest paid employee in a department, but assumes that that person is doing the work. But it's set at a flat $75 per hour, and that covers the wage, insurance, work comp, and I feel like there was something else that's included all in that $75. So it is high. It does appear punitive, but it is covering our cost with little additional, to the point in the letter of that it doesn't take a full hour, or that it takes less time than what we charged for. Part of that ordinance or in that resolution was that everything was a minimum of 1 hour, again, for the whole disruption of an employee's regular schedule in order to go do that. So it was set at a minimum of an hour. Again, I do understand that it is punitive, but there were some calculations in order to develop that.
And that includes loading and unloading of the equipment and
To mobilize
transfer
the
and
equipment.
everything else.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
There's also administrative fee,
Yes.
sending letters and stuff like that, part of that overall fee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the first letter isn't sent certified, but then after the bills, the first bill isn't paid, then additional ones are sent certified. The notice for this portion is sent certified. There's several different letters that are sent out that is meant to be included in that administrative fee.
So nothing irregular happened in this occasion as compared to other occasions?
I can't speak on it. I don't know any more than what Rebecca has on the exact situation as far as what happened. I agree with Rebecca that the letters we send are a nicety. I mean, we don't send letters to people to remind them not to speed. It's part of our ordinance. But I don't believe our files have any documentation related to the call with Scott Vaughn. Can't say it didn't happen, but we just don't have any documentation.
Yeah, and I guess what we don't know is if Scott had talked to anybody and said, give him a couple more days or, whatever,
Well,
in conversation.
And
So-
they did, actually.
We actually did, because the letter said the 18th, and then we didn't mow it until the 21st, so it went past the time.
Okay.
So the letter says, by the 18th mow it, or we will mow it on the 18th?
Yeah.
Is that
Okay, counsel, what?
do you know what day you talked to Scott?
Probably the day that I opened the letter. Now, that would have either, you say it was mailed on the 18th?
No, it was.
Dated the 18th?
The 11th.
Dated the 11th, okay, so sometime that week I got the letter. Called Scott as soon as I got the letter. So I'm not sure which day I opened the mail.
Yeah.
But these are adjoining properties, and so in terms of the loading and unloading or all the additional charges, I don't know where you keep the machinery, whether it's across, is it part of the park system?
No, it'd be down at
Okay.
the city street shed.
Okay. So look, I'm not here to gripe. I'm just saying, it seems unreasonably a large amount, and I'm a reasonable guy. You did do it. I'm not debating that. It got to it, even though I called Scott and asked him to please give me a couple days. My machine is not ready. I will get to it. Oh, no problem. We send these letters out routine. You've got time. It's been wet. No problem. So I just acted accordingly and got to it as soon as I possibly could, which was that weekend. The day I got the machine fixed and got back from work, they did it. So I said, okay, all right, they did it. What am I going to do? So I got the bill for $155, and I just assumed, okay, I'll eat it. That's the price for, it was just meant to happen. Even though I did everything I legitimately could do to prevent it from happening by calling Scott, but I just think that, again, I'm a reasonable guy. I'm okay with paying a reasonable amount, but $390 for 2 lots that I can get done in an hour and 15, both of them tops. And they use a tractor. They just sit on a back of a and just. It can get done in a lot less time than it takes me to do with this walking behind. So,
So, council,
I'm just
any changes?
asking for some
Yeah.
consideration.
Were you prepared to pay the 155 when you first
I
got it?
was, yeah. In fact, I thought I sent in a check. I called my bank, several accounts, and apparently it was never paid, which boggles my mind because I told my son, look, if we don't get this, and my son is now helping out more, like, if we don't get this done, we're going to get socked with $155 to mow this one lawn. So that was my motivation for him to start helping out more around the house. But I was prepared to pay the $155.
Why were there 2 separate bills?
2 separate properties.
So they were, so the 390 is just for one property?
It's the two.
235 and 155.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're 180.
Got it.
180. 380.
Just because I'm looking at the calendar and spring can be wet, and I'm looking at the weekends and how they fell and the letter date, and took some time in the mail, and you got a phone call, and then you needed a weekend I respect people who work a job. I would propose that we settle at half the bill.
That's what my thought was too.
Okay. I take that as a motion?
Yeah, I'll motion that we
Okay.
settle with Mr. Bouchero. Yep, for a half of
So it's 140.
390, right?
And I'll second
The
that.
total is 390?
Yeah.
195?
Okay.
195.
195.
Okay.
I will second that.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to accept 195. Any other discussion? If not, please call a roll.
Anderson?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Flournoy?
No.
Toohill?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Okay, so we had just one vote no, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so,
Is that amendable? I mean,
That's minimal.
okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks.
great, thank you. Okay, anybody else? I don't think anybody else is here for the public hearing, so we'll move on to the resolution for the nuisance abatement schedule assessments.
Rebecca, you didn't
hanging
have
out?
another objection.
Oh, you know what, I saw Ron.
Ron came in and took,
Oh, he did. He
Ron
picked the
grabbed
stuff
it.
up the back.
Did you close the
What
Yes.
the devils.
I think I did, yeah.
yeah,
I didn't hear you. Okay, so I would move that we
190.
approve the remaining schedule of abatements as presented
For 195.
in our resolution.
An additional 195.
Okay,
Second.
okay, sorry. So it's been moved by Flournoy, second by Gandy to approve the nuisance abatement schedule assessments. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Anderson?
yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Okay, so the next 4 action items are all related to the CDBG grant that, for the gardening education series and plantings, et cetera, et cetera. This first action item, these are the grant policies. This is pretty standard. language for, since we're dealing with a federal grant, and just as a reminder, this is all money that's coming through the CARES Act. So the first policies have, I'll just read them: residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan, fair housing strategies, citizen participation requirements, procurement policy, code of conduct, prohibition of the use of excess force policy, equal opportunity policy statement. So again, these are all pretty standard federal regulations, and this is a formality for this grant. So I would accept a motion to approve.
Motion to approve CDBG project grant policies.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Anderson, second by Flournoy. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Anderson?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
The next, basically, policy is consideration of environmental review requirements, and this has a lot to do with not releasing any funds until environmental review is done, where they're working. Again, these are pretty standard, so I would accept a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve environmental review requirements.
Second.
Moved by Gandy, second by Rasmussen. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Gandy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
The next one, consideration of Iowa Economic Development Authority non-entitlement CDBG program contract. This is the rules of the grant. Again, it's CARES Act money, has to be used by July 23rd of 2023, and CARES. CARES. Yep. So I'd approve a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Moved by Toohill,
Second.
second by Rasmussen. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Toohill?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Thank you. And the last action item regarding the CDBG grant is the administrative services that Area 15 provides to assist in this grant.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved by Anderson, second by Gandy. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Anderson?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Next resolution, consideration of STBG application for the Crow Creek Bridge.
You went through those policies faster than I thought. Sorry. I wasn't paying attention. So last fall, the city received $1 million towards the reconstruction of the Crow Creek Bridge. This is for, this covers construction costs only. Then in addition to the $1 million, we have $150,000 in the city's budget, and we received $150,000 from the county as part of the transfer of jurisdiction. Like everything, prices of bridge construction have gone up. And we're lucky that as we went from conceptual design to preliminary design, the designer did determine that we didn't need quite as long of a bridge as we were expecting. It's going to be closer to the existing size, and which is saving us some money, but it's still to account for increases in prices. I'm recommending that we apply for STBG money through the regional planning to cover any additional costs. I'm recommending applying for $140,000. This comes from the around $200,000 that the city gets each year in this program. Although it's unofficial, we've unofficially earmarked those funds for Burlington a couple years in the future. And this extra cost is actually, we're going to repave the approaches the entire length of construction. So essentially we are spending the money towards Burlington. We're just doing it now instead of 10 years down the road. So that way that section of road is taken care of for now, and it gives us a little cushion going into the letting process with the uncertainty of construction costs. And the application is due April, even though we won't be needing the money for about a year, we do need to apply at this time.
So when would we like bid the project? Like when would you know if we have enough funds to cover?
So we would bid it probably December of '22 or shortly after the first of the year. And DOT, they program their money for a certain fiscal year. So if we found out in, say, January of '23 that we still needed even more money on top of this, we would have to wait until April to apply again. So we can't apply intermediately of the cycle. This added, normally we carry around 10% contingency for projects. This is another 10% on top of this, so carrying 20% for this project.
This is a competitive grant then?
No, this is out of our the 200,000 that we get each year. And with, is it CARES? There's federal money that's coming down that is going to be increasing that pot from 200 to 240 a year for the next 5 years. So
why would it not be approved if it's?
Because I have to have a resolution from you guys.
Well, if we fail to approve it, then it
Yeah,
will be
it's
approved.
not competitive. We get the money, it's designated to us, but we still have to go through the process of
Yes.
applying for it.
Yes.
I see.
And the other engineers talk bad about me if I don't have a nice looking report, so.
This is the committee that I go to, isn't
No,
it?
it's a different committee.
It's a different one?
But it's
Oh.
through the region.
Yeah, it's through the regional planning.
Not that I oppose this at all, but the original funding of this, was that split between us and the county?
And the DOT, right?
No, and the DOT, the 1 million from DOT.
Correct.
Okay.
And the reason, the split was the county, when the road was designated back to the city and the county got 150,000 from the DOT for the maintenance of the building.
Bridge.
Bridge, yeah. And so, but the city can get more funds through the DOT for bridge maintenance than what the county did. And so we took over that bridge so that we wouldn't have to put as much money, or overall costs would mostly come from the DOT.
Okay.
And then we're just splitting the cost essentially with the county to pay for the fixing of that bridge.
But there was also some historical money set aside, right?
That's the 150 that's coming from the county,
Right.
or that we've already received. They've written us a check and we've
Well,
deposited.
that money ultimately came from the DOT though, right?
Correct.
Didn't come to the county residents.
Correct.
Where is Crow Creek Bridge?
By Chautauqua Park.
Oh, is it past Chautauqua?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
On the way to Parkview.
Where they
nursing
just
home.
changed the speed limit on everybody.
Oh, that goes over the walkway,
Yep,
the
that
bike
goes
path?
over the trail.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so, I think Tom's point is that, the city's paying not 50% of the extra cost. The extra costs are related, somewhat to items that are specifically city related, such as paving a little bit longer section of the roadway and related to the trail. So they were included in the original estimate, but they are not necessarily required as part of the project. They're things that I've chosen to add to the project since we're not needing as tall or as long a bridge as we originally hoped. Thought, yeah. Well, we did kind of hope for a little bit taller bridge so that we could raise the trail, but we're okay with saving that money.
So I would move that we approve the STBG application for Crow Creek Bridge.
A second.
Moved by Flournoy, second by Ham. Any other questions? Not, please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Esti.
Yes.
Gandy.
Yes.
And then we have a resolution, oh, sorry.
I forgot to add that this money is not like use it or lose it, that if the bids come in favorably, this would be the last pot of money that we use. And so it would just go back into our STBG pool if we ended up not using it. So it won't be wasted.
Okay, great. The next resolution is a formal authorization designating ARPA funds. And we've already approved this, but we felt we should have a formal resolution
With the federal requirements, we're hoping to have a resolution stating the motions that you've already made, but in resolution form.
Move to approve formal authorization designating ARPA funds.
Second.
Okay, moved by Gandy, second by Flournoy. What you've already moved is the $1 million toward the fire station and $250,000 to Jefferson County Kids Child Care. So, any other discussion, questions? Not, please call the roll.
Gandy?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
The last resolution is authorizing entering into a credit card agreement and establishing signers.
Essentially, with the transfer of First National Bank to Midwest One, the credit card situation with First National has been rather difficult to deal with. So instead, getting ahead of the transfer, we want to start our credit card application or our credit cards with Midwest One now, because it's more of an internal process than what First National is, and we've had some rather difficult discussions with their credit card processor. So we just soon deal with Midwest One going forward rather than dealing with the large Visa company that we're dealing with First National.
I would move to approve.
Okay, moved by Rasmussen,
Second.
second by Gandy. Any other questions, discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Thank you. Under the mayor's report, I have 2 appointments to the NADI committee. Steve Taylor and Cassidy Robinson. Cassidy obviously was here earlier. You've met Steve before. Both of these people are on the Arbor committee as well, but there is crossover between these 2 committees, so the NADI committee wanted them on their committee as well, and they are, they're great candidates with a lot of knowledge. And, Cassidy brought us this bat grant tonight, even though I'm not a fan of bats, but they're on the north side. They're not in my yard, so I don't mind, right?
She was very well prepared. She didn't wing it.
Right?
That's good. That's good.
So anyway, I would accept a motion to approve Steve Taylor and Cassidy Robinson to the NADI committee.
So moved.
Moved by Anderson,
Second.
second by Toohill. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Great, thank you. City Attorney report, John?
Most of what I have to talk about tonight will be in closed session, but sometime in the next few days, Ron Blair, myself, the city engineer, and possibly a couple other of us from the city will take Dr. Bauman out to have a sandwich and complete the deal on the access lane called Diane Bauman Lane down at Lamson Woods. That's sometime yet in the next couple weeks.
Okay. You gonna have a picture for the paper or anything?
We can do that.
That might be nice. Okay, committee and board reports. Ways and Means?
Ways and Means Committee met tonight to consider the purchase of a compact track loader for the water department. And Steve gave us 3 bids here and recommended the one by Bobcat in Iowa City, Iowa. 2022 vehicle. The one they're replacing is 21 years old. And this has a higher lift capacity for the truck, and it's got a cab and backup camera, that kind of thing. So the price was $49,365. It's already budgeted for next year, but we're going to approve the purchase this year, and then we'll receive it next year, I guess. The expense will take place after July 1st, right?
Correct. The expense won't happen until after the new fiscal year. We won't receive it until probably at least August of this next year. But in order to get that process moving, we have to order it now.
Right. So the committee voted to recommend this purchase.
So is that an official motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we allow the purchase of the compact track loader for $49,365. $365.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gandy. Any other discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Flornoy,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Esti,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Great. Next, administrator and department reports.
While Melanie's coming up for her project report, since Scott has resigned and gone on to Oskaloosa, I've taken over the nuisance abatement process, or nuisance complaints. We have kind of started a new administrative process where myself and Don Travis is going out and checking certain areas of the city each week. We have sent 10 letters out in the past week, one of which is leisure living. We're probably going to send out another 5 from today's escapade. I anticipate this going on for a while. There's plenty of properties that need cleaned up, but we are working through the process.
Escapades.
Yes,
Is
it's
there,
interesting.
Is there a way we could be copied if they're in our ward?
We can do that, or work on that, yeah.
Okay.
I'll talk to Don about that.
All right.
We may just compile a list and send everyone.
That would probably be the
whole thing would be
easiest.
easier
Yeah,
than
who we
sending.
sent letters out this week to, yeah.
The beautification committee is already acting in this area, correct? According to the minutes, they are
Not on nuisances.
Well, they're
identifying some nuisances.
probably
and-
identifying, which then we have to follow up on, but we have to do since I'm the
right.
acting, or since I'm the only one other than the police department that can issue citations, I'm the one that has to go and check, make sure it is a violation to.
Well, I was just pointing out there's another set of eyes out there
Right.
that are contributing to this.
Then we also have on our website a complaint form that the citizens can fill out and tell us where their complaint is, and then we can go check on it that way too.
Could you do a radio show and one Friday morning or something? And do people know that form is there?
If they call in, we do tell them that. I can also, we were going to talk a little bit about it today with the town hall meeting, but Melanie had plenty of other things to talk about today, so.
We mentioned.
We did
mention it,
before.
Yeah,
But,
we did mention it.
Yeah. We try and put it, and I'll probably end up talking about this, let's see, the first meeting in April. After that, it'd be my normal radio slot on the 13th, so I can make a note and talk about it then also.
Okay, you're done?
Yep, I'm done.
Go ahead.
As far as projects, we have a lot of stuff still waiting to get wrapped up, and as well as bidding next year's project. We do have one project that is out for quotes, so it hasn't been in front of you guys for a public hearing, and that is for sanitary sewer lining. It's around 2,300 feet of 8-inch sanitary sewer and 1,100 feet of 12-inch sanitary sewer. So that is currently out for quotes. When we send out for quotes, we still post it onto Master Builders Exchange as well as on our website. We just don't have the public hearing process through the council. The 2021 bond project that included 23rd is back up and started. So the subcontractor has removed 9th Street from Burlington to through Washington. So in order to access the rec center, you have to either come from Jefferson and go in the south driveway or come in off of Burlington to the north parking lot. The ladies that are at the desk said they spend a lot of their time reminding people which parking lot they parked in when they head out one and say, no, you parked in the other parking lot. So, but other than that, it is going well. There was a water main leak on 9th last week that crews worked well into the night in order to get that fixed so that it wasn't damaging the subgrade and so that Park and Rec had water in the morning. Later this week, the crews should be starting to remove C Street, and that project is on C from Burlington to Briggs. Those property owners received door hangers last week letting them know that the project will be starting soon. As far as the Highway 1 improvements, we did settle with our 2 remaining property owners out of court last week. So we'll be working on finalizing those documents. Alliance engineer has reached out to me to finalize the construction permits for their portion, or for them to relocate their utilities. So hopefully we start to see some construction on Alliance work within the next month or so. I'll have more details after I review the construction permits fully. So that is moving forward, which is great to finally have some closure on those properties. We talked about Highway 1. The airport taxiway reconstruction, we did have to issue an addendum last week to revise the construction method based off of an FAA specification. We made a change to a DOT specification, and therefore the letting date is April 1st. Originally, you were going to have them at tonight's meeting to consider, but we pushed it back to your next meeting. Also, finally, the fence for Diane Bauman Lane has come in stock. We have only been waiting for 3 months for it to not be back ordered. So we'll get some dry weather and that contractor will get that in. So it's like I finally feel like some of these bottlenecks that we've had on projects are breaking through, and my next report I'll be panicking that there's so much going on. Lastly, I wanted to mention to the council, we have received to the council and to the public, we've received calls from individuals wanting to know what we're doing with the fire station demolition. Some people reaching out because they want to salvage a significant portion of the east building. We will be doing some salvaging this summer as far as doors and fixtures, interior fixtures. Hopefully have some summer staff that can help with that. We also hope to get the asbestos removed prior to demolition. So those are things that are going to be happening this construction season. The actual demolition of the buildings are going to wait until we have bids on the fire station. We'll still try to separate out that demolition so that a local person, there's a couple Amish that are interested, that they have an opportunity to compete in salvaging that building, because that's what we want to happen with it. And but just letting people know that it's still in process. It's just not at the top of the list right now to get that project out right now. We got to do some design and start on the and do the bidding of the fire station before we start on demo. But that is all I have, unless there's any questions.
No questions for Melanie? I forgot to mention that Melanie and I did a town hall tonight at 5:30. We spent almost an hour talking about planning and zoning and permits. Thought it was a lot of good information from Melanie. I really appreciate the information that she gave. And so it'll be out on Fairfield Media and Facebook soon. Jason will get it out there, and hopefully people will watch it and learn, because we want, spring is coming and people are going to be itching to get out there and do some outside things, fencing, decks, et cetera, et cetera. So,
and to summarize the hour up into 4 sentences or something like that, we really encourage people to come talk to us before they even buy the materials for their project. There are lots of factors in all different types of projects. I can't give you a rule of thumb to make it easy. So just come talk with us, because we don't want you to have to return any product or have to not be able to return any product and lose money. So please come talk to Dawn or I.
great. And the next town hall is going to be April 28th, our same time, 5:30. We're going to talk about man's best friend. So we're going to talk a little bit about dogs, maybe some cats. Dog behavior when they're running loose, packs versus how they act at home. We'll talk about the ordinance and again, spring's here and people are getting out more, so we want to educate the public a little bit on some of these issues. So that will be our next topic. Okay. We are ready to go to a closed session. So I will take a motion to go to closed session.
So moved.
Moved by Ham,
Second.
second by Gandy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Great. We will take a couple-minute break here and go to closed session.
Burlington and